Okay, we're here in my garage. It's just a, this garage is it's not a very big space, right? So I'm just showing you guys what kind of space I'm dealing with here. Let's back out here a little bit. Okay, that's the total garage area, right? It's your typical garage area that's, 20, 25 feet deep and maybe, I don't know, 10, 12, 15 feet wide, whatever it is. So it's not a lot of space, but it's all I got right now. The good thing is it is connected to the house, so that's very convenient. Now, when you're in a garage, you're always confronted with power issues, usually, okay? But in this garage, I'm kind of fortunate because right over here, that's a 240. Now, I mean, it really comes down to 220 by the time it comes out of the breaker box, but basically 220, 240 outlet right there. 30 amps. So, it would have been better if it was 50, but 30 amps will work. There's ways to make it work and it should be fine. Okay. And for a lot of people, that would be the maximum they have in their garage. And the rest would be these kind of outlets right here where they're, 110, 120 stuff. But I'm very fortunate that I also have, you can see here, a hot water heater right back there. I have another 240, 220 outlet at also 30 amps. A little traffic going by. So I got two outlets that are basically 220 at 30 amps. So that's great. That's enough power, single phase power. We can use some type of phase controller to go to three phase if we need to, right? Maybe a rotary phase converter or some other VFD or something if we have to go that route. Because the Bridgeport 3 horsepower motors, electrical motors, usually are 3 phase, 230 3 phase. So that's okay, if we have to get some type of phase converter, we'll do it. So that's pretty cool. We have enough power in here to do 2 mills or a mill on a lathe, or the other thing I want to do is get a CNC plasma cutting table. And I have a really nice one in mind at a really, really very good price. And I'll mention that in another video, but there's a guy on YouTube that's using it right now, and he's having a lot of success with it, and it's very reasonably priced. Of course, I have my Power TIG 250 TIG welder. And in another video, maybe along with the plasma cutting table, I'm going to talk about getting a MIG welder that I want to get. So the MIG welder is going to handle a lot of the steel welding, and it can even do stainless. It's not so good at aluminum because I'll have the TIG welder to do the aluminum, but MIG welding is just so much faster when you're dealing with steel. The MIG welder is good for exotic stuff like aluminum and even stainless if you have to do some really exotic, really nice welds. If you want that, that's where your TIG welder comes in. But so we'll be looking at a MIG welder too to speed up some production and do some things we want to do for this gravity-driven generator, okay? So now let's look at some of the mills that I've been contemplating to help with this gravity-driven generator and other things that I want to accomplish. We're going to talk about another cool project that I'm going to do after the gravity-driven generator, which is going to be really, really neat. But so let's talk about the mills that I've been looking at. In front of you right here, I'm going to compare 3 different mills today, okay? This is the Central Machinery, typical, something you'd get from Harbor Freight. It's a manual knee mill, decent horsepower, 2 horsepower. It's got a nice R8 spindle, which we want the R8 spindle because readily available tooling for that, right? The 2 horsepower it's respectable. It's pretty decent. It's definitely a step up from a mini, like a desktop mill or these little tiny mini mills. It's 650 pounds. The table size is 26 by 6.5 inch table, and it's $1,900. Okay, so this is a manual knee mill. Okay, it's not a benchtop mill. This mill would have to sit on a stand because it's not a super large knee mill, so it would still need its own stand to get it up a little bit off the floor. And the table size is okay. It's 3-axis, meaning you have the x-axis left and right. You've got the y-axis, which is, towards you and away from you. And it's not really true z-axis up and down, but because you just have the quill. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. There is a z-axis handle there above the quill on the left. So, for what it is, it's not bad. I mean, if you're going to do manual milling, this would be great. I don't know if it'd be great, but it's one of the options. Okay, so it can be done. And now that I'm looking at this knee mill, I see a red handle low and left in this picture to change the z-axis. So it truly is 3-axis, this machine, which is nice. Okay, the only thing there's a few things about this mill that I don't like. One, it has a tilting head, and I can tell you right now, you don't want a tilting head. Okay, the minute you get tilting heads, meaning it tilts left and right, you lose rigidity, and you don't. That's one of the last things you want is a loss of rigidity. When you're milling, you want that mill to be super rigid. Okay. The other thing that I don't like about this mill is that it's only 650 pounds. Now that may sound like a lot of weight, but actually it isn't. So 650 pounds, if you're going to be milling something and you're taking some decent sized cuts, your tolerances could be a little bit compromised because 650 pounds is, for some work, not a lot of weight. Okay. 2 horsepower, I really can't complain. That's decent. It's not going to be a high production machine or anything, but it's decent. And okay, and it's $1,900, which isn't exactly cheap, but for what it is, maybe it's good value. I don't know. Okay. All right, let's look at the next mill. Got 2 more mills. Now this is a very popular line of mills from Tormach. Tormach's been pushing their products for years now. I know some of you are probably familiar with, I think it's New York CNC. I forget his name over there. And he was an early promoter of this product line, and some people have had some really good success with Tormach. But I've heard some horror stories about Tormach. We'll get to that later. But anyway, just for comparison purposes, this is the Tormach 770M. It's a CNC mill, so it's unlike the last mill. There's some big differences here. First of all, this is not a knee mill. This is basically a bench top mill. And they're giving you the bench, right? They're giving you that stand. You could make your own stand if you wanted to, but they're giving you the stand, or you got to pay for the stand actually. But so it's not a knee mill, and that's important to understand the difference. This is a bench top mill. Okay, it is CNC, which is nice. It's only 1.5 horsepower. So it doesn't have the same horsepower as the knee mill we just looked at. It does have the R8 spindle, which is nice, so tooling's readily available for this as well. It does weigh more, 950 pounds, though that 950 pounds that they're quoting here, I have a feeling is the stand, the mill itself, and the enclosure probably. I really don't know, because I don't think the mill by itself is 950 pounds. So that could be a little deceptive. I don't really know. I'd have to go check the specs, but they're claiming 950 pounds here. I don't know what that entails. Okay, the table is 26 by 8, and that price tag, man, $15,000, guys. And this is not even the full Monty. This is not the whole big ball of wax. This is I don't even think this includes the enclosure. The picture has an enclosure, but I don't think the $15,000 includes the enclosure. Okay. But yeah, $15,000, that's a lot of money for a 1.5 horsepower benchtop mill. And the only reason I'm mentioning this mill is because a lot of people seem to think this is the gravy. And I'm going to be honest with you, I am not attracted to Tormach's products. Okay? I've heard a lot of people complain about their tolerances. 1 out of 30 machines are checked, I guess, for quality assurance, and the other machines that leave out of the Chinese factory, I've heard people complain they can't get their refunds. Tormach is, well, at least reluctant to give refunds. And for $15,000, and if you get the whole ball of wax, it's you're looking at $25,000-$30,000. And it's I'll just be honest, I'm not impressed with Tormach's products. There's just been way too many people complaining about their products. So yeah, they advertise a lot and say that they're a great product, but and maybe for some guys they are, but I've seen way too much negative feedback about the Tormach's mills. So I'm only showing it for comparison purposes and because I know it's very popular. But for us, we're definitely not going the Tormach route. It's too light of a machine. It's underpowered, and it's not heavy enough, and it's way overpriced. To me, it's a bit of a toy. It's not a serious machine, okay? All right, let's move on to the next one. Now, this is a Bridgeport Series 1. Now, for those that know, this is, the traditional classic knee mill that's been around for probably, I don't know, World War II. I don't remember when they came, I don't know when they came out, 40s or 50s, the first one started coming out, but Bridgeport's been around forever and a day. Of course, they're not in business anymore, I don't think, making mills, but yeah, Bridgeport, this is Series 1 we're looking at here. This happens to be CNC enabled through the Centroid upgrade. Yes, it's a knee mill, meaning it sits on the floor all by itself. This particular one we're looking at here, which I think I saw this one on one of the used mill kind of outlet listing facilities. Sometimes you see them on eBay. Okay, this one's 3 horsepower. That's nice. That's a big advantage over the previous two mills we just looked at, where they were 2 horsepower and 1.5 horsepower for the Tormach. This one's 3 horsepower. Okay, and believe me, the additional horsepower makes a difference. You can take a little bit deeper cuts, a little bit faster inches per minute. Okay, this one also has the R8 spindle, which of course almost all Bridgeport Series 1s do. So again, readily available tooling. But check this out, guys. For this particular model we're looking at, it's over 4,000 pounds. Okay, meaning there is not going to be an issue with rigidity. This machine is not going to move. When you put it in its place and finally get it located, pretty much anything you're cutting, you got rigidity. Okay, I can't emphasize enough the importance of rigidity. Okay, well, look at the table size, 42 inches by 9. The other two mills there's no comparison. The table is massive. And look at the price. Yes, it's used, but I've seen mills at $5,000, $4,000. I've seen 2 horsepowers at $3,000, $2,500. Yeah, you may need to put a little work into them, but if you just look around, you're going to find a Bridgeport Series 1 knee mill. Maybe not CNC enabled, but you can upgrade to Centroid, okay? And I've seen them for under $5,000. This one happened, I think this one was about $9,000. But I'm pretty sure if I look around and be a little patient, we're going to find a 3 horsepower Bridgeport Series 1 CNC enabled, probably through Centroid upgrade, for under $8,000, maybe $6,000. Okay, and a lot of times this is coming out of a major manufacturer where they were doing one shift only on this particular mill, and a lot of times they throw in the tooling, or at least some tooling. Sometimes you'll get a whole box of tooling, right? You get a whole box of tooling that comes with it. And you got to sift through the ones that are good and the ones that are junk, but whatever. Yeah, this machine in this picture is dirty, but they said don't worry, they're going to clean it up before they sell it. Now, I'm not claiming that we're going to buy this one, but this particular one, but I can tell you right now, we're definitely going the Bridgeport Series 1 route. We're going to get a good machine that's used. That's the intent. We're going to spend a lot less money than we're going to spend on some Tormach overpriced toy. Okay, and Harbor Freight's nice and all, and there's the little machine shop if you want to do a little tabletop mini mills and all that. But by the time you go get those CNC enabled, you're at $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for some of those little mini benchtop mills for CNC enabled. I just don't see it. Why would I go spend $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on those little toys when I can go get a Bridgeport that's 4,000 pounds that's gonna churn out the product, okay, a lot better, for only a couple $1,000s more? Sometimes maybe even the same price if you really hunt for the bargain. So for us, I'm just so glad that we took the time to really weigh all of our options and take a close look at what really works out there. And I gotta tell you, what you're not going to hear from Bridgeport users is Gee, it's not rigid enough. Gee, our tolerances suck. You're not going to hear that. I mean, if the machine has really been abused, then yeah, your tolerances and backlash might be a big problem. But you almost never hear about big tolerance problems and big backlash issues and all these big problems that you get with Tormachs and all these other mini mills, and, or I should say benchtop mills and Harbor Freight stuff and Chinese mills. You don't hear that. You never, almost rarely, never hear that about Bridgeport. And that's why we're going to go the Bridgeport route. Okay. Yeah, I know it's not going to churn out parts like some Haas, let's see, with their PM1, which is a nice, you can get a PM1, I think they're PM1s. You can get a nice used mill of Haas, but that's going to cost you, $20,000, somewhere up in that area. Before I move on, let me just say, because I want to talk about something else real quick here. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button right down there. And while you're at it, if you don't mind, please go ahead and click that notification bell so you can get all the videos as they come out. And we really appreciate the thumbs up. Okay, back to the video real quick here. Another thing I want to mention is that I'm seriously going to look at getting a CNC plasma cutter. We're a little bit limited on space, but so we're going to see what we can do. Hopefully I can get into another place and have a nice big facility. So we'll talk about that again in another video. Okay, hope you enjoyed the video today. We're going to keep you guys updated. We'll talk to you all again real soon next time.